Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Anything Football, hosted by me, Coach Chris. Hope everybody's having a good week. Today we're going to switch tracks a little bit here. Last week when I did my video, I said I would give you a little breakdown of a certain type of defense, show you how to simplify it a little bit, make it a little bit easier, and we're going to delve in a little bit into the 43 cover 2 defense. Now, this is primarily going to be geared more towards high school instead of college and NFL, because in high school it's much easier to simplify and break down than it is to do it in college and at the NFL level. From complex defense, even though a 4-3 cover 2 defense is in and of itself simplistic, coaches like to muddy the waters by having all these weird coverages, robber coverage, all this kind of stuff, cloud, sky, whatever they want to call it, whatever they want to name it. And same for running and defending the run and blitz packages and all that. And that's just too much. I generally like to focus, when it comes to defense and offense, I like to focus more at the high school level, because that is where I believe they're the most influential, when you can really train your players to understand defense, give them a base, simple, fundamental understanding of what type of defense you are running, and it builds their platform for when they do go on to play college football, if they so choose to. They don't need to get technical. And again, this is not me saying that I am right, that I have all the answers, that as a coach you should follow my book and only my book. I like to learn as much as I can from everybody at any level, because not every coach has all the answers, and I certainly don't proclaim to have all the answers, but I do understand football, and I believe simplicity, especially when it comes to defense, is the best route to go when you're talking about high school. And the reason I chose the 4-3 cover 2 defense is because, one, I enjoy it. I think it's a great defense. I think it's a good defense to run in high school. Primarily throughout my football career and coaching career, we have been predominantly a 4-4. I have long since wanted to break away from that, because I believe in a 4-4 defense, you're limited as to what you can do as far as coverages, as far as blitz packages, when you want to hide blitzes and disguise them. It is a balanced defense, no question. It is a good defense if you have the talent to run that. And I think ultimately your defense really should be predicated on the type of talent that you have, as far as size, speed, talent. More often than not, you'll find coaches that try to make the players fit the system when players just are not capable of running certain type of defenses or playing certain type of positions. The other case can be said the other way around, that you need to fit the defense to your talent of your players. And a 4-3 is very basic, and I think anybody really, regardless of your talent level, can play it. I like it. I just do. A lot more teams are playing more of a 4-2-5 or a 33 or 33 stack, or they're playing a 3-5-3, which is great. I have nothing against those. This is my preference. So the 43 cover 2, I really like this defense. There's a lot you can do with it. You can play it out of your base 4-3, and you don't really have to get ridiculous. And that's ultimately why I chose to focus more on the high school level than college or football, because over the years I've seen high school coaches that coach defense, and their playbook is that thick, maybe that thick, and that's just overkill. to me. They try to go all Belichick, for lack of a better phrase, and they want to get technical and they want to get overcomplicated. And I think a lot of coaches miss the fact that they need to keep it simple. Simplify it. You know, at the end of the day, there's 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense. Everybody can be accounted for if you keep it simple and keep your eye on the ball. These coaches, they tend to get too technical because they want to just cram everything into a defense and expect these kids at high school to understand and learn it. Nothing wrong with exposing them to it, but you do it little by little. And I think when you start off at the beginning of the season, you start off basic, you know, and as time goes on, you add things to it. And I think the degree of difficulty in your coverage schemes or your run schemes, depending on how technical you want to get, depends on the type of team that you have. If your team is not very sound, you don't want to go throwing all this stuff at them. So what I'm going to do is just keep in mind that this is a simple approach to playing a very easy, simple defense. Now again, some people might disagree with me, some people may not. I'm not claiming I have all the answers. I'm not saying that my way is the only way. I have coached defense for a long time. Generally, my teams do well. But again, that was in a 4-4 defense. I've really I've gotten bored with playing the 4-4, which is why I've always wanted to switch to the 4-3. I think it gives you more elusiveness with your linebackers. In a 4-3, as opposed to a 4-4, it is very hard for offense to game plan for, because your linebackers are kind of hidden behind your defensive line, where in a 4-4, your outside linebackers at least are outside. I think it's easier to game plan against a 4-4 than it is a 4-3. But again, keep in mind, this is just a way to keep it simple. This is not, we're not going to get complicated in this breakdown of the 4-3. So let's go ahead, let's dive in and get started here. As you can see here, I have a couple, about 12 plays here. The first one starts out as just my base defense. This is the 43 cover 2 defense. Okay. You need a nose tackle. You got your tackle, your DNs, your will linebacker, Mike and Sam. You got your free safety and your strong safety. Some people flip-flop those. Strong safety I always like to have on the strong side of the offense. Free safety I always use more of as a filler, if you will. I got my corners here. So this is what my 4-3 defense would look like. Okay, I can, if I want, I can stack my linebackers behind the DNs. But ultimately, my defense in a pro formation here, this is what my defense would look like. And it doesn't matter if the running backs are in I formation or they're in divide, if the quarterback's in shotgun, or if they're in pistol. It doesn't matter. This is still a good defense. What I do is I have my nose guard in a 1 technique. He's playing a little bit of the inside shade. I know with these triangles it's a little hard, but he's going to be playing a inside shade of the center when he lines up on the weak side. My defensive end is going to be in a 5 technique, playing outside shade of the left tackle. The defensive tackle here is playing a 3 technique, where he'll be right here. Inside shade of the right tackle playing, and then the tight end will be in a 7 technique, or a 9, not a 7, a 9 technique, playing just outside shade of the tight end. My corners will be head up on the receivers. The Mike linebacker will be centered over the offense completely. He's going to split this line in the middle here because you got 6 guys on the line. The weak linebacker will be just outside in a 2x5 capacity, 2 yards outside the left tackle, 5 yards deep. Same thing with the Sam for the tight end. The Sam will be 2 yards outside, 5 yards deep-ish. Again, that varies depending on the type of offense you're going against and their talent. Free safeties, they are splitting the field down the middle. So overall, this is how my defense will look. It's a good defense to play. Commit 7 guys to stopping the run, 8 to 9 if I really want to, with my corners back, playing covering the receivers. And also I have my safeties over the top splitting the field. So this is what my base 4-3 cover 2 defense would look like. Now if we go back, we'll get into the run defense and their obligations to stopping the run. Again, they're playing the same technique. The nose guard's in a 1 technique. The defensive end is in a 5. The defense on the right side here is in a 9 with the tackle in a 3 technique. So as you can see here with arrows here, this is a base run stopping play. There's no stunning here, okay? We don't have any blitzes going on. This is just playing base defense, keeping it simple. Here's their assignments, okay? Everybody on this defense, every player has 1 assignment for each play. And ultimately, that is where I choose to go with my defense. I don't need to give my defensive end or my corner 2 or 3 different types of responsibilities on 1 play. That just generally tends to get confusing for kids at high school level. Okay, for example, I tell my corners, you're locked on to this receiver. Where he goes, you go. That's it. Simple. I don't need him to play bump and run or play jam him at the line and then, peel off and cover here, go there. It's simple. Where he goes, you go. So, as you can see, what I do is I have my DNs coming right off the outside edges of the left tackle and the tight end. My tackle is coming in. He's shooting the gap, but he's in a 3 technique, so he's going inside shade of the right tackle. And then my nose guard is slamming and playing in a 1 technique. He's slamming the inside shade of the center. Now, this is an odd man front, and the reason for that is because I don't want these guys, it looks like this, but it's really not. I don't want these guys just in the gaps, okay? My nose guard, I want slamming into the inside shade of the center, because what I want to do is I want to pull this left guard over here to try and block this nose guard, okay? So you can see here, this is ultimately what I want. I want that happening. Obviously, with this left tackle has got to account for this defensive end. I want to create a double team. Oh, hold on a second here. Get rid of that. I want to create a double team with the right guard. I did it again. Look at that. I want to create a double team with the right guard and the right tackle on my tackle here. Okay. That's why he plays in a 3 technique. Because he's out inside shade of the right tackle. He's not really over the guard or in the gap evenly. He's shaded to the right tackle side. I want to pull this right guard. He's slamming here, so as he's coming across, this right guard has to account for him. At the very least, if he combos up to the Mike linebacker, I want to draw him in here. And obviously, the tight end, the same responsibility as the left tackle. So that ultimately, for the defensive front, this is ultimately what I want to do. Okay? The idea of my defensive line, especially between the nose and the tackle, is I want to create double teams. All right? I always tell my nose guard and my tackle, if you're not creating double teams, then you should be blowing into the backfield, making the play or disrupting the play. Okay? The idea of having a nose guard and a defensive tackle in a 4-3, and it's the same for a 4-4, any four-man front. We want double teams. We want the right guard and the right tackle to double team the defensive tackle here. We want the left guard, the center, double teaming the nose. And we want one-on-one on the outsides with our defensive ends, because that frees up our linebackers to pursue to the ball carrier. Okay, so if the center takes the nose and the left guard takes the nose, right guard takes the tackle, right tackle double downs on the tackle, the Mike has a clear shot to the backfield if I want to call a blitz or if he's just reading the play and flowing. Outside linebackers, the Sam and the Will, depending on which way the play is going. If it's going to the right, they're flowing, everybody's flowing, he's trailing back. If it's going left, he's coming down this way, the Mike's coming this way, he's looking for a hole to shoot, and the Sam is just flowing backside looking for cutbacks. Okay, so that's ultimately what we're looking to do. All right, just keeping it simple. No need to get crazy. No need to get ridiculous with it. It's a simple thing. Here, obviously, if it's a run play, my corners, my safeties are going to come up and help with the run. But now, here's where I get different with my 4-3 as opposed to the corners. And you know what? We'll just, I'll tell you this now. A lot of players will play off. A lot of coaches will have them playing off the receiver, 5 yards, 5 to 7 yards, okay, because they like playing zone defense. I am more of a man. I like playing press coverage with my corners. The reason for that, especially if they're in a pro, I tell my corners, get up on these receivers, square up, jam them at the line of scrimmage. Do not let this guy get off the line, okay? Do not let this receiver get off the line and get into their pass route, okay? If these guys can jam them at the line, and I know that's a hard thing to teach corners at this level, but again, we're keeping it simple. I don't need him to play back here in a zone and try to cover and then try to teach the Sam when he drops back to hook to curl, try to teach this guy to cover if he goes on an inside route to pass him off to the Sam, and then the Sam looks him up and then pass him off to the Mike. The zone coverage, I'm not a fan of zone coverage. I like playing man, although this defense does have a little bit of zone coverage. But on the outsides, what we're doing is we're playing man. We're pressing, okay? So it's an exercise. It's a drill that we work on every day, regardless if it's offense or defense. I have my corners pressing the receivers. You can teach them how to do that. Square them up. Keep them square. Push them to the outside if they get in their routes. But ultimately, I want to disrupt this pass route, because if we can hold them up for at least 2 seconds, that cuts down the time that the quarterback has to make a decision if they're throwing the football. Okay, this is a run defense. We'll go to a pass defense here. And again, here it is. Here's our coverage. Okay. Now, yes, technically, yes, they are playing zone. Okay. This is a 43 cover 2. And the reason it's cover 2 is because you got 2 safeties over the top, splitting the middle. Free safety has from the middle to the sidelines. The strong safety has anything to the right to the sideline. My corners will press the receivers, and then they will run with them. Okay, they will be locked in. Okay, it'll be they're always on the receivers. Where these guys, where this X and Z goes, the corner goes. If I want to switch it to a zone, I can. Okay? If I want to switch to a zone, I can have them press and then drop back into the flats here. Okay? But for the most part, they're going to cover their receivers. My phone's ringing in the background. We're going to ignore that. But anyways, as I said, I want my corners pressing the receivers because in multiple formations, if they come out in twins or deuces, I want that. I want them pressing the outside receivers. Make it hard for them to get into their pass routes because it cuts down the amount of decision making and the time that a quarterback has to make a decision on where they want to throw the football. The longer we keep them at the line, the less time the quarterback has with my defensive front to get to the quarterback. Okay? It makes it easier for my D-line to try to get to that quarterback and make the sack. If we just drop them off into a zone and have him play off, this guy gets off the line free and then he's free to go wherever he wants to. I don't like that. I never did. Okay? You see a lot of defenses in the NFL, they will play press coverage. All right? So, in a 4-3 cover 2, this is basically what I'll do is the corners will press. They're locked on. This is just for an example if we have them dropping back in the zone. Okay, they're locked on. Where the X goes, this corner goes. Where the Z goes, this corner goes. My Sam and Will drop into their hook to curl areas right about here. Hook to curl, maybe going into flats. Okay. My free safety and strong safety, they're splitting the deep half. They're splitting the field into 2 halves. They got free safety has deep half, strong safety has deep half. And that's really all you need, especially against the pro offense. Now people say, well, what happens if, you know, the running back here, I'm going to pull it up again. Oop. What happens if the running back curls out into the flat? Okay, again, this is why I like playing press coverage, because as the corner's pressing, if I want to and I retain the option to do this, my corner is also looking in here. Okay, he's got this guy locked up for at least 2 seconds. If he sees this running back flare out, he can release the X from the line and come up here to meet the running back, allowing the free safety to slide over and pick the corner up, or the Will for that matter. And then the Will, he's reading the running back too, so he's coming up. Okay, so you see I got 3 people. The free safety picks up the corner, or the receiver I mean. You got the Will and the corner coming in. They should be able to take care of 1 running back. Alright. So that's this is why it's a simple defense. It's just keeping it simple. Okay? So again, if that running back flares out to the backfield, the corner can come up. That's why I like playing press coverage. Okay? I don't need him 5 yards back. If we drop this corner here, this guy runs a streak or a fly route. Well, now he's dropping 10 yards. This running back moves out to the flat. You're asking the Will to slide out there, maybe the defensive end, which in my defense they can. The defensive end is coming. If he sees that running back scrape his face as he's coming around, if that running back flares out, he can go. He can move out there. Okay, he can fly out there with he can fly out there to get the running back. And then you got the Will pursuing too. But I like the corners playing press because they're right here. They're already here. I don't need them that far back. All right? So if the running back sneaks out, release him. Safety will slide over to pick up the receiver. He's right here to meet him. You got the Will pursuing. You can't guarantee that in this formation, if the corner picks up the receiver and goes, that this Will pick up the running back in time. At least not before he gets across the line and he's gaining 5 yards, okay? That's why I have my corners playing press. Now, when you say, well, if you have your receivers locked on with the corners, if the X goes, he should go. So how is he going to pick up the running back? Well, that's a good question. Because, and I'll answer that in just a second here. Whoop. That's a good question. If the running backs stay in the block, okay, for example, if the running backs here and here, they're blocking the ends, they're not going out, then yes, the corners will go with the receivers. They will fly to where the receivers are going. Okay, they will lock onto the receivers and they will go with the receivers. But that's why we play press coverage, because as we're pressing and disrupting their pass route and their timing, not letting them get into their routes, they are reading the backfield. If they see that the running backs are staying in and blocking, then they can release with the receivers and go, because we still have safeties over the top. We still got our Will and Sam's dropping into hook to curl. So even if they do a delayed rollout where they come up and block and then they roll out, Sam's already over here. He can recover. The corner can recover. And the DN can slide off and head out to the flat as well. This is why I tell my corners, play press coverage. Okay? I know that's a lot to sink in, but it's really not. It's really not. It's really simple. Okay? Now, as far as... let's get rid of this real quick. Now, as far as zone, if I want to go all zone, okay, I will still play press coverage, but then my cornerbacks will lock with the receivers up to about 5 to 6 yards, and then they will let the receiver go. So if this receiver Z is doing a go route, okay, he is going to go with the Z to about 5 to 6 yards. He's going to press him, push him to the outside, force him to the outside, and then he's going to release him to the strong safety who will be coming over the top. Okay, so again, you got the area covered. You got the deep half covered, and he's here in the flats. I keep him out here in the flats if I'm playing a zone coverage, okay? That's why I have this little triangle blocking thing here going. All right? If we're playing a true zone, my corners will take the flats. A lot of coaches and defenses have their Will and Sam rolling out to the flat. I don't like doing that because the corners are already in the flats. There's no need to have them go back and cover deep. Okay? I got my safeties to do that. In high school, unless you have a speed burner, exceptional receiver that can beat you deep, okay, or if, let's say he's a tall receiver, 6'4", then I'll double cover. And I'll just say, lock on, you're going with the receiver regardless. When he goes deep, you go deep, safety over the top, double cover the receiver. But I don't need to do that right now. All right, it's high school. These kids barely know the talent that they have. So ultimately, I will have my corners in a true zone drop back into the flats. Will and Sam have hook to curl. Safeties have over the top, and we got our defensive end containing, pursuing in the backfield. We got the Mike hovering around the middle, about 8 to 10 yards deep from the line of scrimmage. Okay, so ultimately, every area is covered. Okay, and this is my simple pass defense. No stunts. No trickery. Okay, there's no trickery here. We're not scheming where we'll have, the Sam drop back to cover deep half. The strong safety will come up and play robber. Corner will drop back to deep. I don't do any of that. I retain the right to do that. But again, we got to keep in mind, we're keeping it simple. We're not getting complex. Every guy has one job on defense, and it's responsibility. Just do your job. Like Bill Belichick said, just do your job. All these corners do right now, their primary responsibility is to press this receiver and to go with them, okay? Wherever Z and X goes, these corners go. And don't forget, while they're doing it, they're jamming, they're reading, because if this by any chance is a run play, they can release and come back to help the run. You got your Will coming out here, your Sam coming out here in case it is a play action or dropping back. You got your safeties over the top, you got your D-line. Every area is covered, okay? It's a very, very simple defense, all right? Let's see. Now, stunning, okay, if we get into stunts, and I'm breaking this down, when I'm doing this defense now, I'm working out the kinks in it, so I'm really breaking it down as simple as I can. So without any blitzing, without any elaborate coverage schemes against a pro offense, if we stunt right, all I'm doing is I'm having my defensive end containing on the left side in case of cutbacks. But the tackle, the nose, and the DN are all slanting at a 45 to their right. All right, they're not going straight. They're literally, he's slamming into the backside hip of the guard. Same with the nose guard. Left tackle's coming out here. We have the Will flowing. The Mike has gotten any cutbacks, and the Sam is just pursuing over the top. Okay, in case of any reverses. This guy here, if we run slant right, and let's say they run a reverse, okay, they send the number 2 this way, and then the corner comes back the other way for the ball. I got my strong safety here. I got my corner here. Because ultimately, unless this guy gets run off the ball, but he's going to jam him at the line and read. If he sees us coming, he's going to release and he's going to go. Strong safety will be the last guy to play run because he's got to account for the Z. But my Sam is not going to go flying out of here. He's going to hold up position right here to make sure it's not a reverse. All right? So assuming that the play goes to the left of the offense, we're slanting right. So if they're running this way, I just show it to you real quickly. Okay, if they're switching things here, T. Okay. If they're running a sweep of some sort, like this, okay, we're slanting right. We're slanting into it. Everybody's accounted for. The DN will pick up the blocking fullback or tailback. Will's coming. Corner's jamming here. He sees it, so he's going to release and come in to help. He's going to come up here to help in the flats, to help with the run. Free safety comes up if necessary to help. Mike linebacker's pursuing backside. So everything's accounted for on here, and that's the key, okay? That's ultimately what we want. Every spot on the field is accounted for, and all they got to do is their initial responsibility, which is only one responsibility, and then after that, it's nothing but read, react, and go play football, okay? It's the same thing here if we go slant left. All right, same thing. We're going the other way now, all right? DN on this side, he's containing. He's looking for any reverses or counters. Will isn't flying out of his position. The Mike linebacker's got cutbacks. Sam's coming up to stop the run. Strong safety is we're jamming, releasing into the backfield to help with the run. If the Z stays in the block, great. If he releases, all right, he's going to push him, jam him at the line, let him go because we got the safety coming over the top to cover the Z. So every area is covered, okay? Every area is covered. Free safety backside, he's making sure that they don't do any reverses. Other than that, he's pursuing across because once the ball crosses the line of scrimmage, now the safety can fly and everybody can take angles to try to stop the run. But this is a slant left, okay? Nose guard, tackle, DN are all slanting left. All right, even if they go right, let's just say we call slant left, okay? Now, when I say slant left, that's the left side of the defense, okay? That's not from an offensive side. This is from a defensive side, slant left, slant right. You got to imagine if you are the tackle playing here, looking this way, your left side is here, your right side's here. So slant left on paper looks this way. But let's say they run right. Okay, we call slant left, they run right. Alright. This DN, every time he comes across, he's reading the backfield. Okay? As he's containing, he's reading. If he sees the 3 and the 2 back pull out this way, okay, he is going to adjust his route and start fanning and bending out this way. He's not going to just come straight inside like this. I don't want that. I want him wide, okay, and then running out the play, eventually going to the sidelines, okay. I don't need him going shell. I see too many defensive ends just bull rush and go after the quarterback that they overrun the running back. So when he comes, he's coming more straight to the backfield, not going inside necessarily. Okay? And again, this is why we have the will hanging back. He's not flying over across. He doesn't need to. We got enough guys to the left side to support. He hangs back and makes sure that if the play is going this way, and obviously the mic too, okay? Just because we slant left and they run right, or they run their left, not their right, it would be our right. But if they run their left and we're slanted to our left, we're going in opposite directions. Again, the Mike and the Will are reading. The Sam is reading. So if they see, even though it's slant left, they're not just flying here. We're assuming if the play goes to the right and we end up calling the slant left the correct way, and they run this way, if they're going this way here, okay, we're in great position to fix it. But if they're running to our left, if they're running to our right, actually, you know, these guys, obviously these linebackers are going to adjust, and you got the free safety again over the top. We're jamming at the line. We're releasing. If he's blocking, we're releasing, coming in to help. So theoretically, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys to help with this run. Even if they G call it and pull a guard out. Again, this DN is coming across. He's going to disrupt that. The Will's going to come up. The free safety is going to come up. The Mike linebacker is looking for a hole, some sort of gap to shoot, to get into the play. Okay? But in a slant left, this is ultimately what it would look like. Alright? So, again, for this is what I would have. Okay? It's a defense kept simple, okay? And I'll get into blitzes and stuff later. I'm going to continue on this or make it kind of like a mini-series here. We're going to make sure that we cover a lot of things here. But again, it's not a complicated defense to run. We don't have to make it complicated. It's simple. It's have every player know their assignment. One assignment per play, okay? And obviously, things will change in your defense depending on the type of offense that you're playing against and the formations that they run. Ultimately, what you want to do as a defense is know their primary formation, what they run out of a lot, and take away maybe their top 4 plays. Force them to get away from their talent and have to go to their second and third. If you can do that, you're going to have success, okay? But keep it simple. Don't over elaborate on it, okay? You don't need to have all these crazy calls and all these ridiculous zone coverages, man on one side, zone on the other. You don't need to do all that. All you need to do is keep it in front of you. Keep the ball and keep the people, keep the offense in front of you. Don't let anybody behind you, and you're going to have success. And obviously through this, you're doing repetition and drills. Your line drills, your linebacker drills, your secondary drills, your corner drills, everything. You rep on these constantly, consistency, rep after rep after rep after rep after rep. The more reps they get, the better they get. You don't necessarily have to just go right into defense and start playing defense in the hopes that they pick it up. You gotta rep on your drills, your fundamentals, teaching these players how to jam receivers at the line, teaching your D-line how to wrong arm, how to rip, how to swim, you know, making sure that they're aware of their surroundings, teaching your linebackers when to shoot the gaps, how to read through your keys and things like that. all that's done through drills, and you spend more time on drills, less time on X's and O's. You're going to find yourself better. So, again, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your comments on the page below. I hope this information was informative. We're going to continue. The next episode will continue into the 4-3 cover 2. We'll be getting into more blitzing. I will be showing you eventually different formations and how I use different coverage schemes, simple coverage schemes to cover different formations and stuff like that. So again, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hope everybody has a great day, and we will see you next time on Anything Football. Have a good one. Take care.